Welcome, 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 Mosaic Souls. Welcome back to the Journey Within. I'm back from my little one-day hiatus. Needed to take care of me yesterday. I was running around, running all these errands and stuff, and I was like, you know what? Today's going to be Wellness Wednesday, and I'm just going to take the day off and take care of me, so. Come together and focus in our attention and our energy. If you're joining me live, feel free to say hi in the chat as we are going to be moving into the state of gratitude, the power of gratitude, and what that means in our daily lives, and 5 basic strategies that you can utilize to up-level your gratitude. So let's dive into this content, because I am going to do another presentation as I did the last time. I'm just killing it with these presentations because it's just an easier way for me to sort of grok, because sometimes I'll get divine downloads and other things like that, and either I write it on my phone or I create a presentation, and so it's easier for me to disseminate information via presentations. So today we're going to do another presentation. So let's move into today's topic about 5 ways to up-level your gratitude. So welcome to Divine Earth School. Hello, Mosaic Souls. Hey, Mosaic Souls. I am Rachael Alexander, artist and Mosaic Soul mentor, aka spiritual life wellness and business coach here at Divine Earth School. And today, I'm super excited to bring this topic to you today because it's one that we really all need to hear daily, especially in a world that is constantly programming us to be dissatisfied with our lives from advertising and marketing and all these movies and different messages that teach you to be unsatisfied with your life, because only when you're unsatisfied can you buy someone else's product or service and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to demonize that. It's the beautiful game that we came here to play, but there is an underlying thing of this lack and dissatisfaction that's sort of predominant in our world. So let's talk about gratitude. So I want to encourage you to please silence your phone and really commit to being fully present in this moment. And if you have a notebook, feel free to grab it and in a pen and take some notes. And then at the end of this presentation, as I've been doing with all the Journey Within series, this November, I'll open up the floor for Q&A at the end. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What is gratitude? It's always really great to start with the basics because we think we really know something, but do we really, right? And also, me, I always like to have the same frame of reference when I'm bringing up topics so that we're on the same page. After this, we'll dive into the 5 strategies. But let's start with the basics. So this can often feel like a code word for any type of warm, fuzzy feeling that creeps in when you are experiencing something. But there's a real definition for gratitude that guides how you want to approach learning to be more grateful. Gratitude is defined as a positive emotion that revolves around being thankful and appreciative. And this is often in response to people or things that spark a little joy, warmth, or kindness in your heart. So let's talk about your health and gratitude, right? So your mind impacts your overall health, right? Have a bad day or have a bad attitude, and you might end up with knots in your shoulders, grinding your teeth all night, or a permanently clenched fist, right? Finding yourself feeling ungrateful, and that can turn into physical embodiments like wrinkles, acne, cysts, cancer, depending on how long you hold onto the energy, right? Or even gut issues, right? So gratitude and a changed attitude can switch not just your mental health, but your physical health too, because everything is connected, right? The mind, body, spirit, soul connection, right? So here are some physical health benefits of gratitude. What are they? So one of the more profound ways you'll see gratitude benefit your physical health is through a whole new engagement with healthy behaviors. It's much easier to eat well, exercise regularly, and engage with activities when you realize how grateful you are for what you have. This new level of gratitude can bring you a whole new peace of mind, leading to a better and deeper sleep, a stronger immune system, and a heightened immune system as well. And changing just a few little things to feel grateful and gratitude every day more deeply can affect your whole life really in no time. That's how powerful we truly are. So let's talk about mental health benefits of gratitude. So of course, gratitude starts in the mind and the body, right? You have the mental and physical bodies, mental, physical, and emotional bodies. So logically, the biggest benefit of a change in your gratefulness will also impact your mental health. So everyone is up against a different battle in life and their mental space. But it's been shown that expressing gratitude more frequently can quickly improve your mood. So while changing the way you look at the world may not feel like a huge accomplishment, it actually can help make you more optimistic and improve social bonds and improve your relationship with yourself as well. So how to improve your gratefulness, right? Let's tap into these strategies. So tip number one rather, is to say thank you more often, right? So gratitude starts in the heart, but simply saying thank you, even when you don't think it's deserved, you'll change the way you think and feel about something. This goes for even the most mundane things around your house. It can be like really easy to slip into a pattern of demanding rather than requesting things from your partner, your family, kids, or friends. So taking the time to say thank you after someone holds the door or passes food down the table or offers you a compliment really goes a long way. And I remember when I was in a long-term relationship, this was definitely something that we had to consciously make an effort to do, because you do get, caught into the mode of just living together or existing, and you forget to be grateful for your partner or your loved ones or your family members, because you just expect them to be there all the time, and really no one owes you anything. So learning to be grateful not only feels good for the recipient, but it also feels good for you on a human level. So this simple act of voicing your thanks can change the pathways in your brain. We often take people and things for granted in our lives, like I was just saying, but by simply offering up a heartfelt thank you, we can change the way we're perceived and the way we see the world. This can be especially true of children. It's important to make sure the words are connected with heartfelt emotion, not just thank you, thank you, with a snappy attitude where there's really no emotion behind it. So when we fill our lives with sarcastic or ungrateful thank yous, and it can take the full force of the words out of context, right? So take a moment to give the phrase its full weight and your full measure of gratitude when you express it to the people around you, right? So that it's a different energy of, thank you, baby, for really doing this, or thank you, love, for, folding your clothes and putting your clothes up, or whatever, just taking that moment of gratitude and being like, they really don't have to do these things, or it's really nice when they show up for themselves or for me or the family in that way. It feels completely different versus just having this, this demanding energy, right? So try this. Practice saying thank you more often and giving it its full weight. Take a moment to journal or write down all the things you're thankful for in your life. Don't skip around and try to cut your time short, but spend a thoughtful, reflective amount of time on this step of the process. So you're not listing for the list's sake. You're really listing because you want to tap into the emotion of gratitude. You don't want to list just because, I'm grateful that I have a house. I'm grateful that I have food in my fridge. No, you want to get into that emotion. Oh my God, I have a house. Like, there's people in the world that don't, and you could go that way of there's people in the world who don't have a house, or it feels so great to feel fully supported, right? To live in a home and to feel, just get into the emotion of it, right? So, right, I said that. So once you've written out your list, seek out some of these people, right? This might mean typing out a text or email, giving someone a call, or just walking down the hall. Like if it's like let's say it's your coworker and they helped you on a report or something, just being like, really, thanks Sally so much for helping me with that report, because it really helped me and I just appreciate, your time and attention and care. And they will feel so like, oh, yay, thank you, So it's like that energy of love we just start sharing around. So the simple act of saying those words, meaning what you say, and taking the time to say it can drastically change your mind, right? So that's tip number one, say thank you more often. Tip number two is to stop and notice what's around you. So nature and your surroundings are full of beautiful things that we often take for granted, usually because we're hustling and bustling, and we're just never really in the present moment, right? But have you taken time to notice how your spouse sets out your favorite coffee mug each morning, or the way the neighbor's flowers are blooming this time of year, or, well, the neighbors, right? Maybe the way the neighbor's grass is cut, like your neighbor is keeping their grass cut, making your neighborhood look really nice, right? Or all these things can go kind of under the radar, but by pausing, you'll see them and appreciate them and foster a new level of gratitude for the beauty of nature or the appreciation of a spouse. Like, one of the things that one of my neighbors does a lot is I'll take my trash bin out into the front of my house, and every time I come home after working or doing something, whatever I'm doing, on Wednesday evenings, I always see my trash can right back in front of my house, right? So I didn't put it there, but my neighbor does that for me. So I always say thank you for that, because they don't have to do that, but it's a nice gesture, and it's really, nice to have that sort of loving support, right? So this pause in your life can be incredibly enlightening as you take stock of everything that's happening around you. A lack of gratitude for small things can quickly cause a relationship to suffer or give friends and neighbors a lousy impression. Once you stop to see these things, it gives you a chance to act and show your gratitude before it becomes too late. So a simple pause in your life is healthy for you. It allows you to meditate on your situation, take stock of where you're truly at, and make a plan for the future. So even if you're, let's say, living in your mama's basement and you're struggling, to put food on the table or something, there's always something that you can be grateful for, even if you just close your eyes and look, my body is breathing on its own. My heart is beating on its own. That's something to be grateful for. I'm alive, right? So finding the moment to take a pause, to look at your environment, to be grateful for, or just even the simple things of just having a healthy body, right? So try this. This is something I love to do at least 2 to 3, if not more times a week, is take a walk in nature. As you walk along, look around. What do you see? What do you feel grateful for? Allow yourself to be immersed in the situation and in nature itself. The fresh air, exercise, and the mindfulness build together to create an atmosphere that showcases where you can be more grateful within your life, right? This also gives you an opportunity to get out of your comfort zone and to see more of the world. So take time to breathe in the fresh air and notice your surroundings as you walk. If you're into journaling, bring along your journal and write about the scene before you, taking care to note what you enjoy about it all. If you like photography, snap a picture or two, or the natural landscape or the people you're with to remember the moment. I love doing this. There's this lake that I like to visit near, not too far from, a couple of exits away from where I live. And I always go there. I probably have thousands of photos in my phone just from taking photos of the lake and the ducks and the geese and, people that I meet at the lake and the park that I'm going to, and just tuning in with nature and becoming one with Gaia, right? So that's tip number 2, is notice your surroundings more. And then tip number 3 is share with others. So gratitude only goes so far when you keep it to yourself. The feeling of gratitude creates new bonds between you and the others in your life. If you don't ever share this with others, you never really quite feel or quite find yourself as grateful as you'd like. So community is a large part of gratitude. And to me, community is really like a group of 3 or more. It doesn't have to be 20 people, but just having that camaraderie or communion with another human being or another few human beings is really huge, right? So community is a large part of gratitude, and it is an excellent source for you to see and experience more gratitude each day. So expressing this emotion is a perfect way to strengthen and reinforce your bonds you have with your community. A small act and encouragement in the form of spoken or written gratitude can go a long way. By keeping silent about the things you appreciate in your community and amongst your connections, you run the risk of them never knowing just how grateful you are for them and their presence. A lot of times people kind of can get into this mode of, oh, they should know that I love them. They should know that I'm thankful. No, actually saying that you love your child or you love your spouse or you love your friend is really important, right? Because it makes for such a deep communion. Even I'm just thinking of just my past week of just reconnecting. I reconnected with another friend earlier this week. And before I get off the phone, it's such habit for me to say I love you, because it's just words of affirmation is one of my love languages. And so, before I got off the phone with my friend, I was like, I love you. And she said it back. And I was like, okay, great. But it was like this beautiful exchange of energy, you know? Or like when my mom visited me a couple of weeks ago or whatever, and she came over, and before she left, we gave this heartfelt hug, you know, and just, I love you. And, you know, those small things. But I noticed that that's not common with everyone, you know? So like just making that gesture of, you know, showing some physical touch and hugging someone if you have that person in front of you and saying, you know, I love you. Thank you for being a part of my life. It makes a difference. You know, especially, you know, for those of you who have children and stuff like that. Like I remember, not to put my my parents on blast, but one of my parents used to always struggle with saying like I love you growing up, and I had to like put them on blast when I was little. I think I was like 10 years old, and I was like, you never tell me I love you. And after that, they started saying it more often. But it's so important for us to hear those words or hear, you know, appreciation to one another. So try this, sharing, right? Take time to look at all your partner, kids, friends, or colleagues, all that they do for you, and start sharing your gratitude and encouragement. This might be in the form of a text, call, spoken word, or another form of communication. Craft your message and make sure to express your appreciation. So just be intentional with, you know, gratitude, not only just making a gratitude list for yourself, but actually expressing this gratitude to others, right? And then tip number 4 is to keep away from complaints. So it never fails it never fails, right? Something in your day is sure to rub you the wrong way. That's just contrast, the game that we come to play on this planet, right? And our first response is often to complain or whine, right? This might be the most challenging step towards gratitude. And trust me, I'm still working on this step myself, okay? But rather than complaining or whining, make a concentrated effort to avoid all complaints. The ungrateful aspect that comes with complaining can change your whole perspective for the day, right? So even if you're not the one complaining, listening to someone else vent and let off steam in this manner can leave you feeling really ungrateful for everything you have. Now, let me just preface this by saying, I'm not saying don't be there for your friends or your family when they need to vent. Of course, be spaciousness. But if you're constantly in the company of someone who always complains, or you're always complaining, then that's just sort of a habitual thing that you want to kind of nip in the bud. And instead of being a complainer or associating with complainers, you can start changing the narrative and saying, I wonder how this is here for me. How is this here to help me grow and expand? Changing your mindset and shifting the conversation around the stories that you tell yourself and that you tell others can really start to shift you into a state of gratitude, peace, love, and serenity, right? So not complaining can really be hard to do for a day, but work hard to stay away from complaints and those who would complain in your life on a constant basis, right? And this is so interesting because a lot of times in our society, we're taught like we build bonds with or we start friendships, based around like common things that we want to complain about, and I noticed this in my own life, like, well, when I'll meet someone, like maybe we both want to vent about something that we didn't get a chance to vent with someone else, and we end up creating a bond but based around this complaint. And it's like, do I really even like this person, or do we just have a bond around this shared mutual gripe, right? Like so it's like it's shifting your energy and shifting your thought forms and shifting it takes concentrated effort, right? So try this, right? And this is something I'm still mastering myself. So I'm not perfect at it either, but I'm very much more aware of my inner dialogue on a day-to-day basis, that I make it concerted effort not to be a complainer. So take a good look at your life and your day in particular and identify where you might run into some complaints or people who would complain a lot. Schedule your time and activities so you won't really need to put yourself in that situation. So this is more in service to people who find themselves around sort of what we call negative Nancy's on our planet, right? Just be more aware and focused, and what is the word I'm looking for? Intentional. Be more intentional about what you surround yourself with, the things that you're listening to, the people that you listen to, and your own inner dialogue. So when confronted with the opportunity to complain, try to find the good in the situation and insert some gratitude. You'd be surprised how you can change the whole tone of a conversation with just a little bit of appreciation, or just the whole tone of your day, right? Like, let's say you're on your way to work and somebody cuts you off. Immediately, I'm not saying not to have a reaction, but then what we have a tendency to do is have that reaction and then let that whole reaction turn our whole day upside down. So somebody cuts you off on the highway and you're like, that mother effer, F them or whatever. And then you're like, I can't believe that person. And then the mind creates this is how the mind works, right? The mind creates this whole freaking narrative around how this person was a horrible person. And, and it's 3 hours later, even though the event happened 3 hours later and it took all of like 5 seconds of your life, like the mind will create this whole narrative on why, life is so horrible or whatever it is. So just being more intentional around your inner dialogue as well as the people that you surround yourself with will go a long way, right? And then the last tip is to write a letter. This is good old fashioned things that we used to do back before we had cell phones and technology, right? We used to write letters, but we don't really write letters much anymore. But there's something therapeutic about writing out a letter. I think that's why I still keep journals, because there's something very therapeutic and cathartic about it. So writing out things longhand, right? So typing words in a computer or through a phone can feel kind of very impersonal, but by writing it out with a pen and paper, you infuse a situation with a whole new sense of purpose. Also, like adding some little doodles, right? If you write a thank you letter to someone and adding a little heart at the end with a smiley face, it feels more like personal, right? It feels more heartfelt, right? Not that, computers and graphic design don't have a place, but I'm just saying for this exercise, try it out, right? So take time in your search to become more grateful, to write out a letter of thanks to someone who's impacted your life in a big way. This could be a teacher, a family member, a colleague, or a community member who's invested in you and helped you reach this stage in your life, right? So throughout the letter, be sure to thank them and show how appreciative you are of their investment in your life. And you can start doing this. One of the things I would encourage you to do, well, I'll share it after this. So try this. For this tip is to just write. Sit down and write out who you'll be sending a letter. Write down what you're grateful for as well as how they've impacted your life. As you're writing, jot down ideas for others you could reach out to and share your newfound gratitude. There was an artist by the name of Lori Portka, actually, and she did this whole like gratitude challenge that I really loved hearing her story. And what she did was she did a gratitude art piece. And I think that would be really fun to do if you're an artist or just want to get into doing something fun, like writing out a letter or doing an art piece or like a poem or whatever medium you would want to explore or try out, and just making the center be like, I'm going to be grateful every day, and every day I'm going to think of one person for the next 60 days that I'm grateful for. And by doing that, what you're start to do is retrain your brain to look for things that you're grateful for versus looking for things that is going wrong in your life. You're starting to retrain your brain to be more grateful, to be in a higher state in frequency, right? And I guess this goes into the last tip, which is to get creative, right? So gratitude and showing that emotion can start to feel like autopilot after a while, leaving you struggling with just being in a rut. So don't let yourself get stuck again. You can enjoy being creative in how you share and feel gratitude, right? So there are innumerable ways to experience true appreciation and share with others. So spend time getting creative, like something I just shared with you, right? So try this. Go with the flow today or tomorrow, right? Start today or the next day, tomorrow, with only the thought of experiencing gratitude at the forefront of your mind, right? So keep your eyes and ears open for options that allow you to show off and feel gratitude more fully. So you can start your day and say, today is all going to be about gratitude. Today is going to be an amazing day because I'm only going to notice the things that make me fully grateful to be alive, right? And let that be your focus. And as you find new ways to show off gratitude, write them down. Keep track of them in your journal so that you can revisit them and continue building a new life that centers around a grateful heart and mind, right? So that's really, figuring out just other creative ways that you can be more grateful, So that is the gist of it. So keep on showing gratitude. Every new emotion or rediscovered one requires a little practice. Keep working hard to see gratefulness, even on the hard days. And you'll soon find your heart wholly changed and your outlook on life really renewed, right? So that's a wrap, okay? That is a wrap for today's dissemination. Thank you for joining. And to get help creating more of a life and that reflects your soul's calling, I definitely invite you to go ahead and book a complimentary discovery call with me at divineearthschool.com/call. And feel free to join our free Facebook group in the second link in the description box below that I'll put there. And so now I'm going to just close this out and open it up for any Q&A. If you guys have any questions, feel free to pop those in the chat. And I can answer any questions that you may have around today's topic or just anything that in your life personally that you want to chat about. And I'll leave the floor open for a minute or two to type any questions that you may have. So those are, I don't know how many tips those were. I think that was 5 tips. I feel like that was 6, but I can't remember. I feel like I wrote 5, but it feels like I shared 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 6 tips. Okay, so six ways. 5 tips and a bonus. Okay. So let me do a recap while any of you are writing your questions. So the tip number 1 is to say thank you more often. Tip number 2 is to stop and notice what's around you. Tip number 3 is to share your gratitude and appreciation for others. Tip number 4 was to keep away from complaints and complainers, especially within yourself, starting with you. Tip number 5 was to write a letter of gratitude or appreciation. And then tip number 6 was to get creative, right? And to share your gratitude in a multitude of other various creative exercises. One of the things I shared was another artist. You can look her up by the name of Lori Portka. And she did this whole series of gratitude art pieces that she would give to different people in her life that made a difference. I think she gave like one to her hairdresser and one to this guy who like changed her tires or like fixed her car, and like it just created this snowball effect of like gratefulness and appreciation. So those are the 6 tips rather. I see there are no questions for today. Y'all have no questions? Then that is it for today. I hope this message has resonated with you. Feel free to let me know 1 to 2 things that you're grateful for in your life in the comments below for those of you who are watching the replay. And as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. You are a divine being, and your soul knows exactly what you've come to explore and experience while on this planet. So remember, what you conceive is what you'll receive. What you expect is what you'll get. And however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher, and I will chat with you guys tomorrow. Peace, love, and light.